Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So when I visited Bernard Watch recently and I was looking at that ceramic Daytona, they also brought out to me a Jaeger LeCoultre or a Jaeger LeCoultre, however you want to pronounce it. Every time I say it, you guys correct me again. A JLC, and this happens to be from their Master Compressor line. It's a Master Compressor Diver Chrono, a special edition that they did. Pretty cool watch. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about it, but I really wanted to take a look at it and share it with you guys since JLC is a brand I've been very passionate about. Still got to get a Reverso on the channel, which I'm sure I will at some point. But anyway, without further ado, this was just something they dropped off for me to play with, and I wanted to go ahead and share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So one of the brands that I've really been neglectful on talking about on my channel is JLC, or Jaeger LeCoultre, or Jaeger LeCoultre, or however you want to pronounce it. Those of you that have been watching me for a while, you know that they're actually one of my favorite brands of all time. And I think that they're, as much as they're rated well in the watch community, I think the general public still doesn't understand how incredible their watches are. Well, I'm back over at my friends at Bernard Watch and visiting them, and they've brought me this watch, to be honest, I didn't even know existed. I'm very familiar with the Master Compressor line, of which this is a part, and I'm a huge fan. But this is actually a special edition GMT that they did for the US Navy SEALs, which it's pretty awesome, as you guys can probably see through the camera right now. I do want to apologize for the glare and maybe if there's some buzzing in the background, since I am at Bernard Watch right now, so I really can't control the lighting conditions. But this watch is really, really cool, and I am so happy I got to check it out because, again, I didn't even know this thing existed. I've always been a fan of the Reverso in particular, but also the Master Compressor, especially the Geographic. That's actually been on my hit list for quite a while, but now I'm looking at this thing. I mean, this is pretty sweet. So what you have here, again, is a special edition they did for the Navy SEALs. Again, let me see if I can get this thing to focus. Apologize here. What this is it's running the 757 movement, and this has a 65-hour power reserve, which is pretty up there. It's typical beats per hour, so you're looking at 28,800-ish. And this watch is actually rated to 3,280 feet. I know there might be a couple saturation divers out there watching this that might find that useful. To the general public, that is overkill, but great bragging rights when you're at the office. So what you got going on here is it's not only a chronograph, but it actually is a GMT as well. And again, I apologize, this dark dial and this lighting don't want to get along. What you have over here is you have a 12-hour counter, which is pretty typical, and you have a 30-minute counter over here. The other nice thing is you do have a date aperture over here between 4 and 5, and there is a running seconds down here, at 6 o'clock, which I'll do an overlay of here because it's a very unique feature. You kind of get sense of 30-second intervals. I've never seen that done before. There also is this kind of nice textured finish on the dial, which hopefully you guys could pick up in the intro to this video. But overall, it's a very interesting take on a chronograph. It definitely has, I mean, I think of JLCs being kind of delicate, you know, hot horology or almost hot horology watches, and yeah, this has a very rugged utilitarian kind of feel to it, which to me is very cool. I mean, their Master Compressor line has always been a little bit more on the rugged side, but this is something really cool. The thing I like too is these crowns have locks on them. So it's not like a traditional where you screw, unscrew. They actually have the ability where you can turn them, and there's like this white arrow here is telling me it's locked, and then the red's telling me it's unlocked. So when it's unlocked, I can pull it out and I can set the time to, you know, whatever I want it to be. Traditional 10 to 2. Which is nice. And then when I put it back in and I lock it, now the crown's locked, the crown won't come out. So it's a nice little turn it on, turn it off, which I like. I actually like this better than the typical screw out ones you see in most other chronographs. The same is true actually on the pushers. So right now I can start and stop the chronograph traditional way, reset down here at 4 o'clock, but I can also rotate these guys, and now I can't activate the chronograph either. So it's kind of cool. You know, you would expect a locking mechanism on a chronograph given that this is a very capable dive watch. But the thing about it is the way they've actually done it where these things rotate. I've never seen that before, and I think that's a pretty cool way of dealing with it. The case is also extremely lightweight given that it's made out of titanium, which is very nice. You know, for as big as a watch as this is, and it's massive, you would think that it would weigh a lot, and it really doesn't. It actually doesn't feel any heavier than I'd probably say a general 40mm sports watch. You do of course get a traditional diving bezel, so you can actually set it very easily. It's very fluid, and you can set it to the time you get out of the bottom, and you can keep track as the minute hand counts off of your bottom time. Turns very well. Oh, let me line it up. My OCD says this has to be lined up at 12. So again, over here is actually this hollow hand is actually your GMT hand. So you have both the GMT time zone, you can keep track of a second time zone, plus your local hour. Again, now you can kind of see again that running seconds here again and the date. So at the top it says JLC, or it says Jaeger LeCoultre, and it also says diving chrono, and that's exactly what this thing is. Diving chronographs are more of a recent thing. You didn't really see these up until about the last 15 years. You had, of course, the Seamaster Chrono, and Breitling has a couple equivalents as well. But by and large, this is kind of an underserved market. Although the problem with one of these is it's anachronistic, is that you really can't use a chronograph underwater. So you'd kind of want to set this thing, lock it, and then go underwater would kind of be your protocol. But again, very cool. I'll go ahead and start the chronograph just so you guys can see that run along. Again, it's on this nice titanium bracelet. It has the traditional JLC logo. It has these quad deployments. It opens up very nicely. It is, of course, marked on the back, which is nice, given that a lot of companies like Rolex still don't do this. But it's marked that it's a master compressor, US Navy SEALs limited edition, and it's JLC. Again, the thing about this watch that's so nice is its wearability. It's not overly bulky on the wrist. It actually feels very comfortable. This is not something you would get, I think, sick of wearing over the long period of time. The only thing I would say is this is not something you could probably wear with a dress shirt. I think it'd be pretty difficult to get under the cuff. This particular example, since it's a special edition, came with a bunch of extra stuff. There's another bracelet you can use, which is like PVD coated dark. There's your traditional rubber straps. And my choice actually would be this traditional NATO. If any of you guys are fans or familiar with the old Sean Connery Bond movies, this is kind of what he used to wear on his Submariner back in the day. This kind of NATO strap is very 60s, very cool, and I think really would complement this watch well. So overall, that's kind of a quick little review. Again, I apologize for the camera work. The glare here is kind of difficult to work with, but it's kind of cool to share a watch that a lot of people probably have never seen before. Like I said, I wasn't even aware it existed. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, JLC, this is not traditional JLC. This is something very outside what you typically would expect from that brand. And for those of you unfamiliar, I mean, JLC is known for making incredible watch movements. You know, if you guys know anything about JLC, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, all I really need to say is that Patek Philippe and Rolex, among many others, have considered their movements worthy of being in their watches. I mean, that to me is basically all I can really say that would drive that point home. They're known to make incredible quality watch movements, and you know they tend to have okay resale. So on the secondhand market, you actually can get a pretty good deal. So buying one of these from a company like Bernard Watch would be a great way to go, because you'll get a discount and you're still going to get all that great quality that you would have when you bought new, minus the great depreciation curve. So with that said, let's go ahead and we'll jump back. Hey guys, welcome back. I apologize again for the cam work on this video. The lighting in there on this watch with the dark dial, it was just very, very, very difficult to film, but hopefully you guys appreciated it, enjoyed it. I do think it's a pretty unique watch. I really do like the way they've kind of played with those different crowns to lock and unlock them for water tightness. I think it's a pretty ingenious little system they have going on there. It was long overdue to get a JLC on the channel, and I'm happy again that Bernard Watch is kind enough to let me borrow more of their toys, which I'm going to keep doing. Anyway guys, if you like this watch or you like this video, please give me a thumbs up below. It really helps me. If you haven't already, please subscribe and also click the bell icon so as new videos get launched, you guys can see it. Links to my social media are down in the description box. Usually you guys get to see not only pics from my personal collection on my Instagram, but also photos of the watch I'm going to be reviewing soon. So you kind of get a sneak peek of that. There also is links to my Facebook on there. I apologize, I'm hardly ever on there, but so please, I apologize ahead of time if you've ever left me messages on there. Thanks for tuning in as always. I also thanks so much again for the support on my new channel, Coach J. Anthony. I really, really, really appreciate you guys supporting my motivational speaking channel. It means the world to me. And a link to that is also below, and the latest video is somewhere on my head right now, I suspect. Anyway guys, talk too long. As always, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Take care guys, and I'll catch you guys really soon on the next video.